The instinctive function plays an enormous part in the life of each man. It is said that 90% of our negativity comes from the instinctive function. Negative emotions are artificial emotions, and they burn quite high energy. Practical ways of transmuting negative emotions into true positive emotions is a line of work in a school of conscious regeneration. The Queen of Clubs is the card that will register discomfort with any change in circumstance or any discomfort in general. She has the power to use the Jack of Functions to express her negativity, the Jack of Diamonds to demand, "Shut the door," the Jack of Spades to slam the door shut. She is the motivator behind the Queen of Hearts.
If I lose my temper, you lose your head. Understand?
You know, we could make her really angry. Shall we try?
Oh, no.
Oh, but it's loads of fun.
No. Stop it! Oh, no!
Oh, my friend Whiskey.
Oh, dear, save the Queen!
Someone's head will roll for this. Yours! Off the forehead!
In addition to knowing the nature of each center, it is also possible to know our own center of gravity. Each man is born with one center, having a tendency to learn more quickly and easily than the other centers. Thus, that particular one will be overdeveloped, while the others will tend to be underdeveloped. The characteristics of an intellectual center of gravity include a love of knowledge, and of words in particular. Physiologically, intellectual centers of gravity usually have rather large heads, possibly elongated. They tend to choose their words carefully and become annoyed when a word is used or spelled incorrectly. They will read the manual before they assemble the bike. The emotional center of gravity likes to have fun. They often enjoy music, dance, movies, art, and architecture. They tend to dress for any specific occasion: the fishing outfit, the out-to-dinner outfit, the church outfit, the hiking outfit, the tennis outfit, often without regard for variations in the weather. Physiologically, they tend to have large rounded chests, almost heart-shaped. They are quite sensitive about the feel of a situation and of other people. The emotionally centered person will look at the picture in the manual before they assemble the bike. The moving center of gravity is, of course, most interested in movement and spatial relationships such as skiing, walking, bicycle riding, building, taking things apart to see how they work, putting them back together, driving fast. Physiologically, a moving-centered man or woman will tend to be wiry, have well-developed muscles. Often, they would rather just do it and not have to think something through first. Sitting still for prolonged periods of time is difficult for them. A moving-centered man will simply put the bike together without reading the manual. Instinctive centers of gravity would rather sit and not move. They usually have jobs where they can sit for prolonged periods of time. They like to drive. The car does the moving. They like movies, where they sit and have a vicarious experience. They enjoy a good meal, being healthy, and having a sense of well-being. They will often relate to other people who may have ailments. Physiologically, they tend to be fleshy and soft, tend toward supersensitivity related to the physical comfort of the body. They tend to have a low pain tolerance. An instinctively centered man will want someone else to read the manual and put the bike together. Each center has the capacity to do its work extremely well. Man is so designed that if one center cannot do its own work temporarily, another center can do its work for it for a short period of time. For instance, Let us say that someone has trouble breathing, which is a function of the instinctive center. Automatically, the moving center will move the necessary muscles, allowing air to be inhaled and exhaled. The moving center will have done the work of the instinctive center temporarily, in a time of emergency. The difficulty is that most modern men and women have the tendency to use the wrong center most of the time. This is due to education and imitation and lack of knowledge of the centers as such. This might not be so bad for us if it simply slowed us down, but that is not the case. As said previously, different centers work at different speeds. They also work with different fuels. Simply speaking, the food we eat, the air we breathe, and the impressions we take in are refined in our bodies and produce different energies, which are basically the fuels needed for each center to function properly. In the ordinary state, the human machine works well enough for maintaining its own life, but as a chemical factory for the production of higher energies, it is unsatisfactory because it consumes everything it produces. It cannot export or store anything. Yet, if a man wants to wake up, if he wants to build the bridge to higher centers and live in an awakened state, which is his birthright and the real reason he is here, he will have to store higher energies. But before he can do that, he must know where he loses or leaks energy and stop the leaks. Then, it will be possible to collect higher energies. The major areas of energy loss are: first, wrong work of centers. For instance, you are in a situation that requires keeping your head. For example, someone is choking on food in a restaurant. Instead of thinking clearly, we tend to panic. Emotional energy enters into our intellect. It is too intense for the intellect, causing some form of hysteria or confusion. We cannot think with emotional energy. It would be similar to putting jet fuel in your car. Another example of one center doing the work of another is when we go into imagination about what we would say to our boss the next time he takes advantage of us. This is the moving center energies leaking into the intellect. It usually leads to negative emotions. Another example. We are moving to a new home. We already have furniture in our present home. Often, people arrive at the new home and start unpacking and end up moving the furniture around 3 times or more. It might be better to use the Jack and the King of Diamonds, the intellect, to make a list and plan, and use the King of Spades, moving center, to draw out pictures of the large, heavy items to scale, and the floor plan of the house to scale, and move the little drawn-out pieces around in the paper model beforehand. This also may be done in some computer programs. Thus, we do the thinking first, an intellectual function. We make the effort to have a practical picture using the emotional function, and we do the moving in the higher part of the moving center instead of using up our instinctive energy by simply moving and removing heavy items at the last moment physically. However, the wrong work of functions is not the worst leak of energy. The worst leak comes from the expression of negative emotions, as displayed by the Queen of Hearts, off with their heads. The King of Hearts is the gateway to higher centers. The reason we wish to generate and save higher, refined emotional energy is to be able to build the bridge to higher centers. The jokers represent higher emotional center and higher intellectual center. When we come in contact with them, we experience many new functions, such as the connectedness of everything in the universe, the music of the spheres, the higher laws we live under. We may also experience the direction our life needs to take, what we as an individual must do with our life. We will definitely experience true positive emotions, such as joy, compassion, unconditional love, strength, serenity, conscience, ecstasy, state of grace, and many others. In our Father's house there are many mansions. This means there are many and varied functions of higher centers. But most of all, the accumulation of higher energies allows us to build a permanent bridge to higher centers, which will answer the age-old questions. Who am I? And what am I here for? It will allow us to develop a permanent principle of consciousness, sometimes called the unicorn, the ruling faculty, the third eye, God, cosmic consciousness, and others. And when, at the moment of death, we are asked, "What have you done with the gift given thee?" we will be able to answer with a clean conscience.